So even if you're not into astrology, even if you haven't seen any posts on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all these social medias about the upcoming eclipse for the past week or so, or maybe even longer, you probably have this innate feeling that something is coming up or something is different. And I would attribute that to the collective unconsciousness that our ancestors have programmed inside of us. We have this inherited almost fear of eclipses, humanity does. And that's because in ancient times, lunar eclipses often used to symbolize apocalyptic times or foretell the end of the world. But we live in modernity now, and we know that they're a lot more common than we think. But even though they are so common, we can see some sort of symbolism that arises from our ancient roots. And that is the symbolism of endings. So let's talk about that today. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Leeor Alexandra. I feel like I haven't recorded a video in forever, and I kind of haven't. I've been focusing on my first in-person event in like 2 years. It went so well. A big shout out to everybody who came out. I love you so much. Getting to hold you and to hug you was incredible. And okay, back to my intro. So I'm Leeor Alexandra. This is the B community. If you're not a part of it, I really encourage you to subscribe and join right now. You're not going to regret it. You're going to love it here. On this channel, we talk about the law of attraction, spirituality, self-development, and so much more. And today I want to talk about the full moon in Taurus and the partial lunar eclipse that we're having on the 19th. It's a Friday. Because this full moon and eclipse is going to affect you for the foreseeable future, and it actually has been affecting you for quite a bit now. So it's good to kind of understand what energy it's bringing us, what potentiality it opens to us. I just want to give you guys a reminder that my readings have links to astrology. Their roots are in astrology because they are inherently linked, right? And I am a studied astrologer, but I more so use astrology as kind of a guide or blueprint while really tapping into the felt collective energy at this time. Like, what am I feeling that people are going through, that I'm going through, and how we can navigate that. I think it's really interesting to learn that both lunar and solar eclipses used to be blamed for a lot of bad things happening, like crops not yielding, the death of a king, the fall of an empire, the fall of a dynasty, poverty, famine, and sickness. So we used to blame all the bad things on these eclipses. So that could have a lot to do with why people have this fear when it comes to eclipse season, because we have this inherited feeling of impending doom. It's really normal, really natural. But we know better these days, and I don't believe that this upcoming eclipse is a warning sign. If anything, it's an opportunity, right? An opportunity, just like all astrological events tend to be. It's different, it's interesting, but it's not at all bad. There's no good or bad. Everything just is, and we humans are the one that assign it labels because we want to compartmentalize things like, oh, is this good for me? Oh, is this bad for me? Oh, I have my moon in Leo, is that bad, right? And nothing's good or bad. It's just, there's nothing to fear here. And eclipse season could be a time of huge breakthroughs. And I want you to start thinking, really going back to about June 2020, who you were back then and who you are now, and all the breakthroughs that you have experienced since that time. They're going to continue for a little bit longer, I think maybe another month or so. These eclipses just give us an opportunity to level up, to become more of ourselves. And I think that's beautiful. So I want you to see eclipse season and all these eclipses as kind of like tools to propel yourself forward. So imagine you're a rocket ship and you have the rocket fuel, and you're going forward, and it might be a bumpy ride, but you're getting into new states of consciousness, new versions of yourself, and that's beautiful. So today I want to speak about the very beautiful and interesting energy of this intense full moon eclipse and what we should be doing around this time to best benefit from the energy. Real quick, I just want to give a shout out to today's video, which is me. Big shout out to me. Go me. Go you too, Alchemist. So if you're not already familiar, Alchemy is the name of my jewelry line, Alchemy by LA. It symbolizes that the alchemist in all of us, right? How we are able to take things that feel really horrible, to take our traumas, our pains, our shadows, our demons, and transmute them into gold, transmute them into something beautiful, turn our pain into art. And that's where the name Alchemy came from. We have these beautiful talismans. Each one bears 3 Hebrew letters. These are the 72 names of the Creator, the 72 names of the angels, and each one makes up this divine code of creation that enhances and manifests the will of its wearer. It's really cool, and ever since I launched 3 years ago, I've gotten tens of thousands of testimonials from you guys about how these have impacted your life and your journey. And I think that's absolutely amazing. So I have an amulet for divine healing, for happiness, for balancing, for calling in your soulmate, for calling in wealth and abundance, for fertility, creativity, psychic enhancement. We have one for psychic protection if you're an empath, protecting yourself. Honestly, each one of these talismans is already protective. It's against the evil eye, against any negative energy. Basically, we use really high quality sterling silver, which has been used always as a talisman to deflect negative energy. So it deflects things off of you. It gets hit instead of you, which is really cool. We also have solid gold, of course. So each silver amulet is also dipped in a thick plating of 18 karat gold, either in yellow, white, or rose gold, whatever you like. You know I'm a yellow gold girl. And until Sunday night, I wanted to give you a promo code. You can get 11% off your entire order, however many you get. Oh, I'm sorry, you can get 15% off. I really pushed my brothers. I'm like, how much can we give? Can we give a little bit more? They're like, yes, let's do 15. That's fine. So use the word Eclipse, code Eclipse, and you get 15% your entire order. Even solid gold. And solid gold, you know, that's an heirloom. That's something you're going to give your children and your grandchildren. And that's a future artifact. It's not going away ever. So it's really cool. alchemybyla.com. Thank you for allowing me to go on that little tangent and to talk about my company. It's the reason why I can do these videos. So thank you. I love you so much. Back to the eclipse. So let's talk about what this full moon is bringing us. It's a full moon as usual, right? But it's intensified because it is an eclipse. It's also the longest eclipse, the longest lunar eclipse we've had for 1,000 years, for a whole millennia. I think that I read that the last time we had this particular eclipse, or this length of an eclipse, is when the Incas were building Machu Picchu. So just imagine, like, the sky keeps having these patterns and these cycles, and we humans on Earth, it's like generation after generation, the world is built up and then down and then up, and then it's just really cool to think about. Again, a tangent, I'm sorry. Last time we had this particular type of eclipse cycle was November 2012 to October 2014. So I want you to think back to who you were back in that time, and realize that that sort of energy might be getting revisited, but that you are revisiting it as a whole new it's been almost 10 years, right? A whole new version of yourself. So that time in my life was a difficult time. I often talk about the really horrible toxic relationship I was really stuck in. And those were the years that I was in that relationship during that eclipse cycle. So all these years later, who have I become? And it's not about worrying that you're going to fall back into that pattern or into that cycle, but it's more about being aware of who you've become, what you have learned over the past decade, and how you can show up to this energy as this new version of you. Because, you know, life is cyclical. Things keep happening again and again, but it's us that change. We become different aspects of ourselves, and we become stronger, right? So let's see how we can transmute this eclipse energy into gold, into joy, into happiness, into growth. So as always with a full moon, emotions will be extreme, especially if you are more open, more intuitive, more empathic. You're going to feel everything. You might have a hard time sleeping, especially if the moon's light shines into your bedroom. If you can make that not happen, sleeping will be a lot easier. It's really important to take care of yourself during this time. What I noticed with the last full moon, and I've been kind of keeping track of, is that a lot of people will get some sort of bodily stiffness or soreness or pain or even malady during the full moon. So I want you to take notice of that, and I ask you to level up your self-care. If you're not already stretching every morning and before bed, add that in, especially now that we have this Taurus full moon. It's the body, right? It's the physical, it's the senses. Use that aspect of you, use the body, use the earth to take care of yourself. We're going to talk more about that in a moment. So this specific eclipse, being in the full moon in Taurus, is calling for us to heal our relationships with our body. So things that you should be asking yourself is, Have you been working yourself too hard? Have you been working yourself to the ground? Usually the eclipse will show you that, especially when it has to do with your body. Your body might show signs of wear and tear, and it's time to come back to yourself and take care of yourself. Find where you can soften. What can you do? How can you better take care of your body? Also very important to figure out is what is stuck inside your body that needs to be released. And you can release through things such as, of course, breath work and hypnotherapy, but also body work such as foam rolling, self-massage or getting a massage, acupuncture, chiropractor, things like that, things that are very in the body, touching the body and feeling where trauma is stuck, where stagnant energy might be stuck. Trauma gets stuck in the body, right? And we're being really supported right now in exploring those pockets of stagnation and getting them out of the body. So if anything, breath work is a perfect way of doing that. We're going to see light being shed on specific things during this eclipse, usually are triggers. So pay attention to what is triggering you and don't react. Instead, follow your triggers like breadcrumbs. See where it comes from and what you can do about it. How can you analyze it a little bit more? Our lunar nodes, which are our past and our future, are going to be activated by this partial lunar eclipse. So many of us might experience some sort of feelings of nostalgia for something that you may not have had yet. Maybe a nostalgia for a family that you haven't had, or a relationship, or a place you haven't been to, which is kind of that melding and mixing of the future and the past. You might also experience a lot of deja vu. Some of us might even be lucky enough to have an illumination that allows us to peek behind the curtain and kind of see what's coming for us in the future. What does our destiny hold for us? The way to notice this is to just be very observant of what's coming up for you during this time. Pay attention. And as I was saying earlier in this video, eclipses used to symbolize catastrophe, catastrophic endings for ancient people. And for us, this lunar eclipse is really bringing about this theme of endings are new beginnings in disguise. What can you gracefully say goodbye to so that the universe, so that God, infinite intelligence, can bring you the new hello that is meant to be in your life right now? Where can you create space for more? There are things that want to come into your life, but they need the space. If there's been maybe a toxic relationship or a friendship or any sort of connection, it could be with a coworker or a boss or a family member, whatever it is, a neighbor, and you haven't done anything about it. You haven't gotten yourself out of it. You haven't communicated through it. You haven't found a solution for yourself. This is a time where the universe kind of steps in and takes action for you. So you have some time to still be the one to guide this into a place of healing or a place of peaceful resolution or dissolution before it happens for you. So is it time? The timing for endings is now. Take advantage of it. You're going to be rewarded for it. If this is something that you've been trying to do and thinking of for a very long time, remember that it's only going to happen if it's better for you. If on the other side of this is everything you've been asking for, remember that. Of course, like I was saying, this could also be saying goodbye to bad habits. What no longer serves you? What do you do every single day that doesn't propel you forward? And if anything is holding you behind? And what can you add into your life now that's going to be little by little and then all at once? That's my favorite saying these days. Get you exactly where you're supposed to be. So the eclipse is going to support those who are brave enough to say goodbye. You will be rewarded with a bright, happy, fresh new hello. So energetically, things might be feeling a little bit eerie right now, maybe a little unnatural, like you're still orientating yourself with time, but discomfort is good. Discomfort is where we tend to grow. I am feeling that the reason why things are feeling a little off and eerie is because we have shifted timelines recently. So what that means for us is basically the game has leveled up, okay? There are new timelines and horizons and side missions and full missions to be conquered. So think of life as a video game, okay? If you used to play them or still do, I haven't played in many, many years, so I don't know if this is still how they are, where they have to render a little bit, right? or where you reach the end of a terrain and on the other side it's like ocean and you can't go into it, right? So now the life that we had before, there was a little bit of rendering still happening and we couldn't go past certain boundaries or barricades, and now the terrain has shifted. There's new levels to it. It's expanded, meaning you're going to see some sort of expansion in your own horizons. And your own horizons could be your physical surroundings, it could be your connections, it could be what you think about yourself, how you perceive yourself. In one way or another, the game has leveled up and the horizons have broadened. You're going to see something new. You're going to be exposed to newness, to something surprising and different, a level that you were not able to reach before. We're in uncharted territories now, my loves, and this is exciting. I can see how some people might think that this is scary, the eclipse energy, shifting timelines might be scary, but it's only scary because it's unfamiliar. We don't know what's happening in the future, right? The future is always going to be unfamiliar. So just know that we've kind of up-leveled and there's more to see and more to experience now. And it's going to be very interesting. And this update is a little bit glitchy still, so we're still kind of sorting things out, but you're going to have access to this whole new playing field, which is so cool. So just let the bumpiness, get through the bumpiness in the next month or so. And I feel that with the new year, we're going to really see that. And also in December, something new may have popped up in your life and it may have been on the horizon for many months now. We've been talking about it in several energy readings, and now it's here. It's finally popped up. It's somebody new. It's a new opportunity. It's a new aspect of yourself. It's a new habit. It's a new potentiality, something new. But you're not sure whether this is a test or the real thing, and you're being cautious. This is a good time to be cautious. This is an incredible time to practice your discerning abilities. You've learned so much in the past 2 years, especially since June 2020. Okay, it's precisely that time. Go about this new prospect in your life with that knowledge, with that wisdom, with that experience, and interact with it, analyze it, feel it out a little bit like a cat would, very slowly, with curiosity, but do not be afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of. All of life is just an experience. How much more can you experience? How much more can you discover? And this is a time for you to really kind of observe this thing and see, well, I'm being offered something again. Who am I? I've changed since the last time that something like this has happened. I've changed. How am I going to go about this? Let me really be aware and mindful of my interaction with this thing, whatever it is. Keep moving forward, especially with curiosity. Just don't let yourself get taken away, don't lose your wits, don't lose your head. Walk with grace and with purposefulness. Words will come to me right after I'm done with this video, you'll see. A little bit on the darker side, and dark is not necessarily always bad, but energetically, it does feel like since a little bit before Halloween, a lot of occult practices have begun happening for some reason. There's a lot of Saturn worship right now. There's a lot of things happening with celebrities and Hollywood. It's interesting. It's very in our face lately. So I mentioned in the last couple of readings to please keep your frequency high because you don't want to let lower entities siphon energy off of you. I want you to continue to do that. Keep to your spiritual practices, spiritual protection, meditate, pray, cleanse yourself with sacred woods and sacred grasses. My friend Indy Alchemist says to cover your head so you protect your crown chakra. So maybe with a scarf or something like that. If you are feeling like your energy is being taken from you, that's a good way to protect yourself. Another thing that energetically has been popping up for me is Venus. Venus is back. She's in the evening. She's an evening star again. Last I saw her, she was an evening star again. You guys know that I work with Venus often. She is just the most beautiful, benevolent energy in my perspective in my working with her. And of course, that makes sense that she's popping up, especially since we have this big astrological event that is this partial lunar eclipse full moon in Taurus. So she's coming with this super potent full moon. If you maybe notice, if you're in the US, some pennies on the floor. So pennies are made of copper and pennies are her symbol. Copper is her metal. So you might notice that on the floor, that's her literally connecting with you. You might see her in your dreams. You might see the name Venus or Aphrodite in books. Maybe the Pleiades comes up for you a lot. Maybe in movies or music. This is meaningful. It means Venus wants to work with you. And you can do that. You can work with her to call in more beauty and riches. And she's going to bring you to higher levels of yourself, higher dimensions of yourself. Taurus and Venus, they rule abundance of the land and crops and fertility and love, right? And eclipses will affect these areas. So there might be a little bit of pressure and stress on this area, but this is all happening to launch us into expanded new territory. This is what I keep saying, and this is what I truly believe. There's nothing to be afraid of. We have to remember that it's all happening for us. And now, since this video somehow ended up being so long and my stomach is rumbling, let me just kind of let you know what you should be focusing on during this time. So I'm getting a lot of synchronicities and a lot of messages about healing the body. Our bodies are weary right now. If you've been overdoing it, it's time to rest. I want you to heal yourself in a very physical way. You need to rest. You need rejuvenation. You want to put on guided hypnotherapy, guided meditation, take naps, rub yourself down with some magnesium oil, drink chamomile or lavender teas, relax as much as possible as you possibly can around this time. We're still in the process of transforming, so we are shedding our old skin. If you want to do some dry brush the body, letting the detoxification amplify. Definitely, like I was saying, journal, breath work, body work, explore yourself. Be out in nature. I know that it seems like we say this all the time, but it's not always. There are certain times that are even more amplified to be in nature. This is one of those times, that Taurus full moon. It's this natural, beautiful thing happening in our skies. So we want to be looking out into our skies. We want our feet in the dirt, our feet in the mud, our feet in grass. We want to immerse ourselves in bodies of water, take baths, do things that are luxurious that Venus would like, and feel, analyze, and track your emotions. Pay attention to your triggers, because that is where you will find parts of yourself that are still unhealed, that still need to be looked after. Engage your physical senses in whatever way you like to, maybe wearing really soft, luxurious fabrics, maybe smelling some beautiful things, having flowers that are really, that have a nice scent, or candles that are scented. Things that engage the physical senses is really good right now. Of course, gracefully accept what is ending. Bring the power back into yourself. Bring the energy back into yourself. You might see something ending and it might feel catastrophic. It might feel like the end of the world. It's not. Return to your spiritual practice. Bring the energy back into you. Be very physical about it. Move the body. Ground yourself. You're going to get through this. And on the other side of this, of course, as always, is your transcendence. Okay, my loves? Long, quiet walks and more rest. That's as much as that encapsulates everything I wanted to say to you guys. Just rest more, go on long, quiet walks. If you're in balance, you will get a lot of clarity on these walks. You'll get a lot of messages. If you're out of balance, the walks will balance you out. The quiet will balance you out. And suddenly you will be at this channel for all this divine energy and information and clarity again. I hope that was helpful. I love you very much. Go pick up an amulet or two for yourself or for a friend. I'm wearing a solid gold one. I wear it every day. You can shower with it. You can do whatever you want with it. Use code ECLIPSE. I love you. I think that's all I have to say today, yeah? Deep breathing, being in the body, doing body work, journaling, breath work, and just being really gracious with yourself for what is ending and knowing that it is a sign for new beginnings. If this video helped you in any way, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment, because it really helps the channel. It also helps me know what you guys want more of. I love you so much. Happy eclipse season. It's coming to an end very soon. And just take it easy, take it slow. Until next time, keep your vibrations way, way, way up. Bye.